Hello, my name is Lori Elke, and I am so sad that I cannot be there in person with you today. This is the time that my family likes to plan trips because I usually do not attend teachers' conferences. So hopefully you will bear with me as I am doing this in video form. I just wanted to introduce myself first so you know a little bit about my background, and then I will give you some fun ideas and some tips on having art and religion kind of work together in different areas and different times of the school year. So first off, I studied Spanish education at Martin Luther College. I got my degree there, but I took a semester off, and during, it would be the beginning of my senior year, I went to Florence, Italy, and I studied art, just painting and drawing. I have always had a passion for art as well as Spanish, and I wanted to hopefully incorporate both into my ministry. So along with taking this art program in Italy, I also tried to do art whenever I could at Martin Luther College, painting 6 murals while I went to school there. And then when I graduated and got my first assignment in inner city Milwaukee, I tried to incorporate art as much as I could then too. Since graduating, I have taught full-time 1st grade and 4th grade in inner city Milwaukee. And I have taught in, I think, 5 different community centers, art classes to children as young as 2 and adults as old as 97, and everything in between. After Milwaukee, we were in Michigan for a while where I taught middle school art and Spanish, and then I moved up to high school art and Spanish. And then now my husband has taken a call. He's a pastor at St. Paul's in Onalaska, where I am currently teaching art to grades 1 through 8. We get an hour a week of art. I also do art classes for adults on the side. I usually do adult classes once a week. And then over the past 6 or 7 years, I've been doing art parties, kind of those like canvas painting parties. And that's been a lot of fun too, mostly with adults or with children, like birthday party type settings as well. Besides doing art classes and teaching art, I have other art forms I enjoy. I love doing art commissions. I paint people and their pets and houses, things like that. And then I also do illustration. I've written and illustrated 4 books, and I will put information about them on your handouts that you get. That's been a fun project. I've also gotten to illustrate a preschool curriculum called Cross Connections for Early Learners. Maybe you have used it in your schools, or maybe you've heard about it, but that was a really neat project where I did, at least 150 illustrations of Bible stories for preschool students. And then I also do a YouTube channel. This was something that started during the pandemic. My birthday is in March, and I remember hearing on my birthday, and school's gonna shut down for a while, thinking, just a couple of weeks. Little did we know it was the rest of the school year. So I took that opportunity with my 4 children to create a YouTube channel. And at first it was just kind of a fun, let's do art together. But then I realized that it was a great opportunity to share lessons with other teachers. And really the teachers seem to be the ones that use it the most. So I've started kind of adding more teacher type videos on, hey, you could use this lesson in your classroom, especially for teachers in our Lutheran schools who are teaching all of the classes for their grades and aren't necessarily overly passionate about art. So I love the fact that I can help other people and I can give them opportunities to use art in their classroom when it's something that maybe they aren't super strong at, but maybe their kids have a high interest in and they can connect that with them. So that's some of my background. Those are different projects I have going on. I'm also currently working with Wisco Lutheran High School, trying to create kind of an art curriculum for people in the WELS, or at least a good art resource for teachers to use different videos and things like that in their classrooms. So lots of fun projects going on. I really enjoy working on a lot of variety of things and keeping my hands in a lot of things art related. So that is my background, and I've been enjoying the art world for the last, I would say, about 15 years. Now I want to kind of get into some ideas that you can take with you on kind of connecting art in the classroom to either religion class or especially to worship. So we will get into that next. So here is an example of some of my artwork that I have painted, usually using watercolor or a medium called gouache. I enjoy doing some religious as well as landscape, people. And then here are some examples of some video tutorials I have on my YouTube channel. You can see they are religious, like the Three Wise Men, or here we've got a Palm Sunday one. I've got some good Reformation ones that I did this last year. So things that I hope that you guys can use as resources in your classroom. Does your school have a theme each year? I know the way it works here is that our high school, Luther High School in Unalaska, usually chooses a Bible verse and makes this theme related to that Bible verse, and then we adopt it at our school as well. So this year, for example, our theme is Live Your Faith. And we had a graphic designer who goes to our church just come up with this really nice graphic that goes with Live Your Faith. But I wanted to do something as well to display it somewhere in our school. So all I did was I took this large roll of white paper and I painted with black letters really big, Live Your Faith. And then I had some early finishers during art class kind of fill in between the letters with some neon paint. And they added some patterns and textures and things like that. And then I put it on display in one area of our hallway for a while, and now I've moved it to another area. And it's just a little reminder throughout the year to live our faith, to think about what we stand for as our school. Last year's theme had to do with hope being an anchor, and so I had this big project where I think my upper graders did this giant anchor with all kinds of cool pictures or background images using different shades of blues, and so it looked like the anchor was underwater, and then we added the lettering, and that was something else that we just found a wall to display that theme so that it can kind of be present in our minds throughout the school year. So I highly recommend, if you have a theme for your year, which I'm guessing most of you do, that you come up with some type of project. It could be as simple as just the letters and adding some colors around it, or some kind of big symbol that would relate to the theme and involve the students in creating that artwork, even if it's just during their early finisher time, to kind of help display that theme throughout the year and to be a great reminder to all what we are doing, what our goal is for the school year. So here you can see the black lettering and having the children paint the designs in between the lettering and then posting it in the school for everyone to see. So nice and bold, but something very easy to do and plan, and would work with any Bible passage. Here's the anchor picture I was telling you about. Here's blessings blocks, or building on God's blessings. And then this one is something relating to the children of God. So I gave each kid in different grades a paint sample, and each grade was a different color. And then children did their own portraits And we hung them up all together to show that we are all children of God. And the children loved this so much that once I was finished with the display, I moved it into the cafeteria, which is where it is now. And the kids love finding their pictures. And the congregation likes seeing it during Bible class as well. Here's the original display with all of them together. Now, I've only been at my current church for not quite even 3 years yet. When we first moved here and people heard that I was an artist, they're like, how can we use her? And so one of the things that we did, we have a worship coordinator here because we have a very large church, about 1,500 people. And our worship coordinator said, it would really be nice to have a worship art team. And that's something that I was totally on board with. I've never had one of those at any of the other churches I've been at. And so we decided to form this team that's 4 of us, so it's a small team. It includes the worship coordinator who does a lot of the music and the visuals for church, me as the an artist and art teacher, and then we have 2 graphic designers on our team. And what we do with our worship arts team is we look ahead at different things that are coming up in worship, whether it be the specific themes or the holidays or events and things like that are coming up. And we decide, okay, do we want to use the things that the Wells gives out, the images, all the different things that they include, or do we want to come up with something different? So each time we kind of think, okay, maybe we'll just use the Wells one, or there's Carissa Nelson is an artist that we like to use her stuff. Jason Jasperson with the Koine website is another one that we like to use their images and things like that. And what we do with these images is we use them on our screens. So we do use big screens for worship. We've got 2 on either side of our front of our church. And so we have them as backgrounds. We have them at the beginning and the end of services, or maybe during sermons. We'll have our big theme with the image displayed on our screens. We use it, of course, on the front of our bulletins if we have bulletins that are being printed out. We use them on our website. We use them on our Facebook page. We use them on announcements. So there's all kinds of different ways that we try to incorporate these images. So for example, last summer, the pastors did a sermon series on heroes of faith. And so I did just a little quick watercolor of the heroes of faith. And we used that on all of those different things I had just mentioned. So in being a part of this worship arts team, I try to think of ways that I can involve students in creating some of this artwork. And it does need to be artwork that we can use on our website, on our Facebook page, on our front screen. So you have to kind of raise the bar a little bit to make it look extra nice. So there are certain projects I've done. One of my favorites I did with a 7th grade class where we did this giant portrait of Jesus, and I will show you that in a minute. And then I'm doing another one with some of my upper graders this year, and that's a little bit more complex, but you can simplify those and you can use those as well. I did a nativity one this year with my lower grades, and I will show you that in just a minute. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, and it doesn't have to be overly complex, but that you can use to connect that worship to that art that the students are a part of. So that's another way that you can hopefully make those connections, and I just want to give you some ideas on doing stuff that you could maybe use on screens or on your Facebook or Instagram if you have one, that can connect our school and church and like social media or visuals during the service. So here's a picture of our church. You can see kind of the setup. Here's a logo that we did for the worship arts team. Here's the Heroes of Faith I was talking about. The giant Jesus portrait made up of lots of squares that my 7th grade class worked on. Here is the nativity scene that we did this year. The large center one was collaborative, and then the ones on the outside was a second grade art project that was worked with it. So all of them were hanging nicely in our church narthex together. Here's another example of something similar that we did for Reformation. 6th graders did the one in the center, and then 5th grade did the ones on the outside. This was another project relating to Reformation as well. Now, thinking about using art with religion class is something definitely that I don't do a lot of, just because I don't teach religion class, because I am just an art teacher. I don't always know what lesson that the students are on. The one thing that I can for sure connect with is Egyptian art. I know that some of my older grades study the ancient civilizations, and then of course we cover different Egyptian history in our religion curriculum, just by talking about the different Bible story people that went to Egypt or had connections with Egypt. And so I do an Egypt related art project based on that. But otherwise, I try to connect my art projects instead to worship themes or things that are happening throughout the year, like Reformation, obviously like the big ones like Christmas and Easter, Lent, and things like that, so that they can also be on display for a longer amount of time. So instead of necessarily connecting them to Bible stories, which you can probably do just with your Christ-like curriculum, I know a lot of them, or whatever Bible story curriculum you use, I know a lot of them include art project ideas. But this way I try to connect it more to church and worship, and try to have that bond between the church and the school. So it's important, I think, for the people that are just coming to church that maybe don't have kids in the school to kind of see that connection there. I've gotten lots of comments and compliments on student work that I put up right by the entrance of our sanctuary that shows some different connections of the school with whatever worship theme is going on. So I get the insight from the pastors as to what themes are coming up, and then I like to plan projects based on those themes and really kind of take our time and make them look nice so that they do look appropriate to display right by our church entrance. So maybe if you think about a place near where your church narthex is, or where people are coming and going from church and can see that, that connection, I think is really a neat way to bridge that gap between church and school and show that connection. And then students who do go to church, as they're walking in those doors, really appreciate seeing their work on such a prominent place for all of the church members to enjoy as well. So here is an example where I created a line drawing, and you could do this in any specific season of the year. This obviously is the nativity. I kept it very simple, and then students have all these little pieces of paper that they need to use to basically fill in or color the large image. And you can see they've gotten a little bit farther. I tried to keep cool colors on the outside, warm colors on the inside, and I actually had students from lots of different grades work on this project until it was all filled in and completed, and created a beautiful piece of artwork to display near the church. I have also done a similar thing, more of a stained glass for Easter, of this cross here with the butterfly, and had students fill in those. Here's the same idea for Reformation, where I gave them sections of the Luther seal that they had to cut up little pieces and put them into the right sections, and it created this awesome work of art. One of my goals as an art teacher is to create a piece of collaborative art, at least one piece each semester. So one in the fall and one in the spring. and it just varies as to which grades I involve. Sometimes it's only upper grades, sometimes it's only lower grades, sometimes it's all 8 grades that I teach, or sometimes it's just one class. But I try to come up with a collaborative project, and I'm always on Pinterest pinning ideas of collaborative works of art, and then I'm always thinking, okay, what big project can we do? I look at worship plans, so what worship themes are coming up. I think about just holiday themes like Christmas and Easter are always good ones to have a collaborative piece of artwork. And then I think of maybe some materials and things that I would need for that. So usually I build that in to my art curriculum, and I wanted to share some of the things that I've done in the last couple years with you so that you can get ideas of maybe some projects that you could do. Some of them are not very hard, that you can whip up pretty quickly. Others may take a little bit more planning to get them done. So I'll show you some of the collaborative art projects I've done with various grades so that you can get ideas for things that you could maybe do with your classroom. So you can have children brainstorm verses or hymns that they like. And then we used bingo dabbers to draw the lines, and then had younger students color them in with just some watercolor paint. And we have these hanging in our school as well. Here we have a picture of Jesus, and I used Google Slides just to put a grid on the top of it and then printed it out. And I then flipped it over and put a number on the back of each of those little squares so that all of them had numbers on them. And then I cut it up into small pieces so that all of those squares were little pieces of paper, and then students drew them on larger squares. We played around with it, put it all back together, and got a picture of Jesus. Now I did help with some of the darker lines, making sure those lined up. Here we have a mural that you could do simply by digging out an old projector and projecting words or even just basic silhouettes onto a wall. It can create a very vibrant and fun mural if you have a place in your school to paint something like that. Now, before I get into the project for today, I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening and for accepting the fact that I'm on video and not there with you in person as much as I would like to be. I have lots of resources available on my YouTube channel, so please go and take a look and use those lessons that I put up there. I'm always adding new ones, and it is my goal for sure to add more religious ones, especially that kind of follow the church year as we go through it. And then if ever you have any questions relating to art or to worship art or anything like that, feel free to shoot me an email. That also is on your handout. I am usually pretty good about responding to emails about art-related things, and I just love connecting with people throughout our synod on different projects that they're working on to give them any type of info that I may have that would help them complete any type of project that they are doing at their school or at their church. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me, or please share too any projects that you've had success with. I'm always looking for new ideas of things to use here at my school and church, or ideas that I can use on YouTube to share with others. So I'm going to now turn you over to my video on this art lesson relating to Palm Sunday. I hope you enjoy getting your hands into some art today, and I'm hoping that someone takes a picture of you guys with your art so I can see how you guys did with this project, all right? Thanks again so much for your willingness to join me today, and blessings on the rest of your time. Bye, guys.